Welcome to the world of Warcraft.
Welcome back to part 2 of Scholomance, Druid tanking. As you can see ahead, we've got that second group of mobs. We are going to grab these guys after our rogue saps here and pull them around this corner. So I'm going to go ahead and Moonfire and then dodge back around this corner. The nice thing is, in this room here, there are no mobs. There's some stairs that go down, and only in the room, and I believe around a corner, there's some patrols in here too. There are mobs, but they're so far away that you're safe to go ahead and pull these mobs down into that room. Let's go ahead and take a look. There's our sap. Double sap. Now we only have to focus on the ghost. So as you can see, pretty easy pull there. We're able to stun lock him the whole time. He wasn't able to break up into multiples. And now we're gonna just take these one at a time. We're able to keep that cone of cold on ourselves. No problem, we're going to move to the next mob. And so on. So I'm going to go ahead and skip these next couple pulls, and then we'll focus on the dragon room to our right here. And we're back. We're about to pull the first handler in this room, and he'll bring a bunch of plague hatchlings. Mind you, the handler will punt, which is why you pull him out of this room. So you want to pull him out. I pull him right around this corner here. There's a little area right in here you can line of sight. These dragons will spit as well as melee attack, so they will come with. The goal here is to keep my back to the wall so that they don't punt me too far, although you'll see on a couple of these pulls I get myself punted. It's not a huge deal in this room as long as you've cleared everything. The big issue is there are a couple alcoves here that actually drop down into the room below that's full of very dangerous elites, and if you get punted down there, it's almost a guaranteed death unless you're a rogue that can vanish. So let's go ahead and take a look at this first pull, and then we'll take a look at a few more and move on to Rattlegore. Here we go. We're able to stun the handler. It's nearly completely locked down. The hard thing there to see was if there are any hatchlings on our healer. Thankfully we were able to take care of that. You can see them spitting as well as melee. So it's quite annoying. Thankfully our shaman's got the poison cleansing totem. Apologies, disease cleansing totem. Quite handy. So one of the unique things about Turtle WoW that I don't think I spoke too much about is, since we're able to group with Shaman, there's some unique advantages that as an Alliance Druid in Retail Classic you would not enjoy. I'm going to go ahead and pull this next group. I'm going to mark all the handlers just so I can visualize them. Healer get full mana. Rejuvenate myself. Hopefully if I take some damage, the healing threat will assist. As a warrior, you can Blood Rage and then bandage around a corner, and that will get you some AoE threat for the healing. See, this time we got fewer hatchlings, but what I don't notice quite yet is that there's one on our healer until I notice that they're taking some damage. And we charge on over there to try and help out and get them off. And there's one of those punts I was talking about. We didn't quite finish off that handler before we switched targets. The rogues were trying to help with the the hatchlings to keep our healer alive, which is always good. But that left the handler alive to punt me. But as we spoke about earlier, not a huge deal because we had the room cleared. And we're not in that, the other room. Although you did notice to the right there, there's a group of mobs that we had not cleared quite yet. So if I get punted over there, we're going to be in trouble. Thankfully, this run, that does not happen. Right there, yep. Alright, we're going to fast forward to Rattlegore. Alright, we are down to Rattlegore's room. In these Risen Constructs, thankfully most of these pull one at a time, although with the boss you can get a Risen Construct as well as Rattlegore. You're going to see me try to avoid that, but unfortunately I do get two. One at a time, these Risen Constructs hit hard, but if you can keep them faced away from your DPS and your healer's solid like ours is, we're pretty set for single target DPS. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the next one. Our healer's mana is still pretty high. We'll wait for that one to patrol away, get just enough space so we don't pull two. No reason to make it harder on ourselves than it has to be. And see me looking at the healer to make sure I didn't accidentally pull an extra one or something go on behind me. It's always kind of hard to see through the mob here when you're stuck in the corner, but keeping the mob faced away from everybody else is always quite helpful. Alright. The rest of these Risen Construct pulls are pretty much the same, so let's go ahead and fast forward to Rattlegore. And we'll take a look at that pull and see how that one goes down. Alright. We've got Rattlegore here. And you'll notice in the background here there's an extra mob. Now I do my best to not pull both of these. But as you'll notice, no matter how long I wait and try to pull separate, they will come together. So these guys both come. We will end up taking out the Risen Construct first. So this guy will go first, and then we'll take out Rattlegore. And one of Rattlegore's most annoying abilities is his punt, where he drops threat. Additionally, he does a sweeping strike. So if there's anybody else in front of him next to you, they will take the hit as well. It's very similar to the warrior's sweeping strikes in the arms tree. So a couple things to be aware of. Make sure your taunt's ready when he punts you so that you can grab threat back. And here we go. Let's take a look at how this one goes. I'll try and do some commentary as we go. And you can see I'm watching him behind there, trying to judge when he's far enough away. And watching the one on the right as well. Don't want to accidentally pull him. I think I had a chance there to pull and I missed it, so that back mob is coming up again. Here we go. So now I'm going to go ahead and pull them, and then you can see they're tethered. So they both came together. I go ahead and switch to the Risen Construct for the mark. Let our rogues know, hey, this is one to take out. And they do a great job of adjusting on the move. You notice the punt. Now I've only got the Construct. I didn't notice that Rattlegore had run off towards a healer. We go ahead and get him back. The rogues are doing a great job going ahead and finishing off that Construct. I leave it to them because I really need to make sure that I keep Rattlegore off our healer. And having spoken with somebody in the comment section of the last video, I noticed something that I was doing wrong here was not alternating my auto attack and maul for maximum threat and rage. That's something I'll be working on the next time I'm called upon to Druid tank. So very, very helpful information. I really appreciate those comments. Keep them coming. Hopefully soon you'll be able to see me tank as a warrior again, and I can speak a little more authoritatively on how that goes on these 5-man dungeons. I've got extensive experience as a warrior tank, but Druiding is still quite new. Alright. Let's move on to the next pulls. And this next room is quite tricky. There are 2 patrols I'm going to mark here. These spider patrols. That if you pull these groups, you'll see me marking X and Skull and the surrounding skeletons and corpse. If I pull them incorrectly, we are going to run into some trouble. So let me go ahead and pause here while I type information to my rogues. Let's go ahead and point out a few things. So this whole group here will pull together, all of these mobs. These little skeletons, the Risen Aberrations, they are immune to magic, and they do a lot of melee damage, so they need to die first. As you can see, I'm telling the rogues, hey, kill the unmarked ones first. And they're going to do that for us as best they can. Like most plans, it doesn't go perfectly. We still have to deal with how fast these mobs move. These skeletons move pretty quick. The ghouls move pretty quick. The corpse does move a bit slower and doesn't hit as hard. The trick with him is once he's quote-unquote dead the first time, he will actually rise up as a risen corpse, and then he will, potentially do some damage. It's not as much. He's not as big of a threat. So I typically recommend leaving him until last. So let's go ahead and see how we handle this pull, and we'll talk about it as we go. We're going to wait for those patrols to go by. Thankfully, they're close enough together that as soon as Star gets far enough away, Diamond is still at the edge of its patrol area, so we're able to go ahead and pull here safely. Oh, and another thing brought up in the comment section, which is quite helpful, I found, was making sure you use Starfire as your initial puller, so you get maximum threat. You can do Starfire and then Moonfire, but you'll notice that we're running away from these ghouls as they die. I'm making sure there's no respawn patrols behind us, because they leave a gas cloud that will do 350 damage a second if you stand in it, which can wipe you out real fast. Something I didn't take full advantage of at the time, but I did notice as I'm watching this, our shaman always had Earthbind Totem down for this part. Super, super helpful. Let them kite mobs away from themselves, and it gives me some extra time to react to loose mobs. So the next few pulls here go very much the same, so we're going to go ahead and fast forward to the next boss. Alright, these next groups, pretty easy, CC and pull. I've always found it important to clear out this whole room. The boss can punt, so just having all the mobs clear down here takes an extra pull or two, but better safe than running. I'm still going to keep saying that because I believe it firmly, and it saved me a lot of time and frustration. So you see Jaxil just run in here and fail. He realized he wasn't stealthed. So he just ran in there and said, "Hello, fellow citizens." And they said, "Oh, hey." And took off after him. So thankfully we got our saps back down, and now we're able to pull the Spectral Teacher. And as you can see me telling him in guild chat, I've got him recorded. Forever doing that. It happens. But it's always great when your friends can make sure they have a permanent record of it. So we're able to take the Adept down. You can see the Cone of Cold fail. I got a couple people hit by it that I shouldn't have. Not a huge deal at this point, but just something to keep in mind and work on. As we take out this Neophyte, we'll start talking about the boss. He's got a very annoying, I think it's a shield, like mages, the ice barrier or whatever he does. It's not ice barrier, it's oh my goodness, I can't even remember, but it slows your attacks. And Jaxil fails again. It's not his fault this time though. That was a sap fail. So we're going to go ahead and get him back up. We had a few sap fails here. Quite annoying, but once again, he did a great job making sure he was close enough to res, but did not bring the mobs back to the group. Because if we had had both groups there, that would have been really tight, and with him dead and only 2 active DPS, that would have been really rough getting through all these mobs and staying alive. You also saw Alexei have a sap fail there. Quite frustrating for her, as well as Jaxil. I think his Vanish was down, but either way, it worked out great for us. Because he didn't bring him back to the group, as I said, and now we're able to just fight one at a time. We got both saps down. Piece of cake. So let's go ahead and fast forward to the boss fight. Apologies for the messy bags. It's only gotten worse since I've got a little more tanking gear. So I'm about to let the group know I'm going to tank him against the middle area there, so that when he punts me, I just go straight back. We'll fight him right where he is. So here we go. And right here, this is where I recommend tanking. Alternatively, you can of course do this on the wall or one of the longer sides here. But you can see just how much slower our attacks are. It's quite annoying. Our healer does a great job keeping us all up. Our rogues, and this is one of the downsides of having 3 melee DPS, right, is all of their attacks are going to be slowed by the cold. And he also does an AoE frost, as well as that freeze. You just saw me get frozen in place. Then I tried to shift out of it, which was a mistake, because then I take full damage when he hits me in melee. I don't have the advantage of being bear. Our DPS is doing a great job, just keeping on him, taking him out. I'm just struggling here to keep threat away from them. Thankfully, we're able to finish him off. Our healer almost ran out of mana there, for all intents and purposes. They do. The important part is, nobody died. So great work there. And let's move on to the last set of rooms. The last pulls before, I think it's Darkmaster Gandling. The Harry Potter boss, is what we all call him. So, we'll see you there in one moment. Alright, we're about to pull Lady Illucia Barov? Pronunciation. Her big thing is, I believe, a mind control. And she's got some nasty curses. And she crit for 500 there, which wasn't great. But there's nothing slowing down our rogue's DPS here, like there was on the last boss. And they're able to pretty much just take her out. No real issues on this fight. The most annoying part about the room that she's in is actually the skeletons before her. Unfortunately, I'd paused the recording because our healer had gone AFK. And you didn't get to see any of those pulls, I apologize. But those skeletons at a certain point do an AoE that just does massive amounts of damage around themselves. If you're not careful, you will die. And having 3 melee DPS with myself as a tank, we would all just die, and then the healer's stuck with an elite NPC and probably have a hard time finishing them off. It's the Risen Bone Warden right there that I'm referring to. You can see we pulled them out one at a time and took them out. Now here, this next room we're going to attempt. As you can see, I say I hate this one in chat. We are going to take out the 2 mobs on the outside here, and then attempt a couple times to take out the boss, fail, go around, kill the other bosses, and come back to him. But I want to go ahead and go through each failure, talk about it, show what finally worked, versus what didn't, and how unlucky we got on a couple of those pulls. And I say unlucky, just things to watch for that can happen when RNG strikes, and sometimes you just can't control it. The thunderclap from these mobs is quite annoying, not necessarily for the damage, just because of the slowed attack, for rage generation and threat. Once again, healers doing a great job. Rogues are doing a good job focusing fire. Even our healers getting in on it. When you got Wind Fury Totem, that's always helpful, right? So we talk about the strategy. We're going to try and blind the two mobs at the start. This time, it doesn't work. Unfortunately, it does not work. So we end up wiping here, but I think it's very important that we talk about it. This boss has a curse that reduces healing effects on you. I think it's massive. I want to say it's by 50 or 75%. It is really, really bad. And he also does an AoE damage. It's all shadow damage, so it's pretty rough. So here we go. Get ready for pull number 1. I'm gonna go ahead and rejuve myself. And notice I'm not going to attack the skeletons because I'm hoping they get blinded. They don't get blinded. I'm like, oh boy. So I charge over to get the skeletons, pick them up. Able to get one off, and there's that nasty curse. And it just nerfs the heck out of the heals, right? We do our best, but I'm just taking too much damage. I'm sure if I was a little better geared, it would help some, but either way, it's just a nasty, nasty fight. Healer goes down. The rogues are going to start going down. It's really hard to vanish this one because of that AoE damage. You can see Jaxil try to run. He gets stuck on the candle holder. I think he does end up escaping. But Jaxil is about to go down. So yeah, I will bring us back when we... oh, quick word. This error right here from Not Grid has to do with a range issue. At least every time I get in range, it lets me click OK and finish it off. So if you're using Not Grid, this is one of the errors you can see. It's quite annoying, but it will go away once you get closer to your party members. So, alright, we'll come back when we're all ready for the next pull. Alright, we had decided to move on to the next room to start focusing on the other bosses and clear everything else out before we go back to that room. Sometimes that can be a good morale booster, so then you're not just beating your head against a fight that maybe if you had a few more minutes to think about in the background, you know, while you're doing something else, you'd be able to figure out a way to defeat it. These guys move really fast and they hit pretty darn hard, so it's important to A, keep threat, obviously, as a tank, but B, focus fire. And our rogues do a great job of that. They take out the one mob, and I'm able to keep threat on X so it doesn't go murder our healer. So we're going to take them out. The boss in this room is a little annoying. He does punt in the air a little bit, and I don't recall if it drops threat or not. But either way, we're going to tank him in the corner to my left here in the room. And we're going to finish off these next mobs. But he's pretty much another tank and spank. And I marked all of these because I think we end up getting them all. No, we did not. Ha! That's right. Jaxil pulled one of those rogue tricks that you can do here on Turtle WoW. He unstealthed, got one mob on it, and I believe he hit it once. Vanished, which dropped the other two mobs. And he hit triangle again, so that it came back to us. So then we only had the one mob. So the other two dropped once he vanished, but triangle was still close enough for him to hit and run away before the others reset completely. Fighting 3 of these with my gear and whatnot would have been quite challenging. But the only thing I have going for me is the Druid health buff. A little bit of the armor as well. I know I'm not maxed on hit or dodge, anything helpful for druids. so that's something to always be aware of. Know your limitations. We're going to let our healer get some mana back. And then we're going to go ahead and pull this guy. Thankfully, we're not having to shift a lot, so my mana is not going down too fast in most fights. You'll see that on the last boss fight. Spoiler. But we end up making it work. So here we go. I think we use Starfire this time, so yeah, we actually do it properly, quote-unquote, for this pull, but that's what I should be doing on every pull. We also get a Fairy Fire down just for the rogues, and I guess myself since I am physical DPS as well. But we just tank him here in the corner. Unfortunately, like the other bosses here, nobody wanted to drop their blue loot. It's quite disappointing, not surprising, but still disappointing. Healer wasn't taxed too much on this one, thankfully. We're able to keep him in the corner. You can see that AoE damage our rogues are taking. Something to be aware if you're the healer or DPS. And there he goes. Alright, let's fast forward to the next room. Alright, and we're back. We're going to take that boss on again. This time the rogues are going to evasion tank the ads. And like the shaman says, we're going to hope for a slow curse. Since I'm not able to clear my own curse when I'm in bear, that's quite frustrating. We're going to burn the boss. And the rogues evasion tank the ads. Here we go. Spoiler alert. No, I won't even say it. Go ahead and watch it. So here we go. I'm going to keep swiping. They're just going to burn the boss. I noticed that they grenade it, so I try to stop swiping there so I don't break the grenade stun. They go all out on the boss. Only now do we get the curse. So, super helpful. We get the boss down here. And we're able to keep the mob off our healer. I almost go down. Thankfully that curse ends and our healer's able to take him out. I'm trying to get some distance so I take a little less damage from the boss there while he's going a bit slower. Now we focus fire on the skeletons. And we take them down. That curse goes away, now it's piece of cake. And as our shaman pointed out in chat, I got lucky and resisted his last curse. Not going to complain there. So yeah, we got lucky that time. We worked on it. I did say they didn't drop any blue loot. I should have said any useful blue loot. There was that blue ring. It's not really helpful for anybody with arcane resistance. And I blame the healer for doubting that boss. So yeah, let's move up and we'll focus on the next few pulls and then we'll get to the last boss. Hopefully we'll be able to avoid a part 3. Alright. So we are up in the zombie room, as I call it. You'll notice we have a bunch of zombies. You can usually pull these in about 3 to 4 pulls. So you can pull this group separate from this group over here, separate from this group. That guy back there usually doesn't come. This guy kind of usually comes with the boss. And then there's another group over here. The trick with these guys is the unstable corpses you can see right here. They blow up. Not only those 3, any of the unstable corpses when they die. And having 3 melee DPS makes it a bit difficult for this part. So they're going to try and kite away. I'm going to try to kite as well to get some moonfire damage in. Our shaman does a great job of using Earthbind Totem to help us out. Let's go ahead and take a look at a few of those pulls and then we'll move on to the boss and then the next rooms. So here we go. Our shaman was going to chain lightning there, I believe. You can see our rogues trying to get some damage in. They do explode on our rogues, but as long as they don't all explode at once, you usually will not go down. You just try to kite them around, slowly but surely. Don't try to grab too many in that room, or you'll quickly get overwhelmed. You can see Alexei over there using her bow. Every little bit of range damage is helpful here. Jack Seal goes ahead and pulls the next group. And we're going to take them out. It's a fairly small pull this time. Just the 4. And only 2 of the unstable corpses that will explode when they die. Thankfully, we do have a shaman healer this time and not another druid healer or something like that, so we're able to clear these diseases. Quite annoying. You can see me get some moonfires in. Every little bit of damage at range helps. See the reanimated corpse just rolling along here, another Turtle WoW specialty. Get some more moonfire damage in, and let's go ahead and move on to the boss pull for this room. Alright, we are on the Lorekeeper. Pretty much tank and spank. The biggest threat from him is if there are too many mobs left over. It can be a little tricky because then you have a bunch of skeletons that explode on contact, or when they die, not on contact, thankfully. You can just get overwhelmed by mobs. But that's not the case here. We're able to just kill the extra mob we had, and then tank and spank him down. Unfortunately, we still don't get any great drops. Rogues are managing threat with Vanish. Now, he is hitting pretty hard. I didn't notice that at the time as much. I was just worried about threat. Our healer does a great job taking care of that. Rogues just take their turn stabbing him in the back, and we finish him off. Let's fast forward to the next room. Now, a couple things happen in this room that end up being troublesome for our group. The first thing is, you'll notice our shaman is down here with the totems. So, they should have probably held back behind me here. You can see on the mini-map. Just, not quite in that room, but behind us. If they had stayed back there, these mobs would not have pulled. I think this one pulls on the totem in just a moment. My goal here and how I should pull this room. You'll notice these mobs here. This guy's far enough away that if you pull Skull, they will not aggro together. But if you pull X, you will get this guy as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at how this goes, how the wipe happens, and how we could have avoided it. So here we go. I'm actually about to pull Skull, and X aggros onto the totem. And it's a little hard to see, but we also get 2 more ghouls. So now we have 4 ghouls. We only wanted 2. We have 4. Each of them does a little bit of AoE damage, as well as explode, or when they die, they do that AoE gas. So I'm trying to just pull them around, so if one of them dies, I'm not sitting in it. We've got our healer getting hit. We try to take out the ghoul as best we can. I think I line of sight our heals at this point, and I get myself killed. Try to heal myself, and then I just get hit while in Night Elf form, not bear. I believe our rogues are able to save this one. Yeah, they're able to kidney shot that ghoul. Keep it off our healer. And blind the other ghoul. And there's a ghoul I can't see right now, I do believe. Yeah. You'll notice right here, let's back this up just a moment. Right here, Jaxil is attacking something, right? You've probably noticed this before. You're like, what on earth is he doing? Well, there's a ghoul that I can't see right here. I know that sounds funny, but you'll notice when we fast forward back, let's clear the annotations. There's now a poison cloud right in front of us, right here. So there was a ghoul there the whole time that we couldn't see. I've noticed this a couple times in Turtle WoW. It happens. Be aware of it. Sometimes all you need to do is move a few pixels and you'll be able to see it. As I'm dead, I can't move at all. Try to change the camera angle. It doesn't matter. From my position, it's probably due to the candle holder. I just can't see the mob. Thankfully, Jaxil does. He takes it out, gets out of the poison cloud, doesn't die. So let's go ahead and continue. But I just wanted to point that out as one of those little things in Turtle WoW that's different than retail. Got one more ghoul up. I don't remember if they're able to save the shaman. Yes, they saved the shaman. And I'm the only one that died. And I give them all the credit for saving that. I probably ran around a little bit too much for the shaman to heal me. I was trying to get in a place where I could heal myself. It obviously didn't work. So here we go. We get back up. We're going to rest up, heal up, and we'll come back for the boss pull. But before we go, one more thing. You'll notice over here behind this ghoul is a little bit of raw meat on the ground. You'll see right here behind Alexei's portrait, there's another one. You need to burn both of those for the initial quest in Scholomance, as well as kill the doctor in this room. We forget to burn them. So this run, I don't get that quest done. But don't forget to burn the corpses, as they call them, but they just look like raw meat on each side of this room, as well as kill the boss. It's really easy to forget that. We go ahead and pull this ghoul, take him out, and then we'll move on to the boss. The boss hits pretty hard. There is a interesting point at the beginning of the pull, and I try to exploit it towards the end of the fight. I will show you as he comes. It's a pathing issue with the boss. I've noticed this a few times in Turtle WoW. I did not expect it in such an open room such as this. There's a slight dip in the middle of the room here. You'll notice here, there's this ledge, and that ledge actually causes the boss to do some kind of like erratic runaround before he comes over to me, because I believe I pull him from about over here. So I tell our group, hey, make sure you just DPS the heck out of him, because he hits really hard. Especially at the end, he goes into a bit of a rage. So here we go. We're going to Starfire and Moonfire pull again. Oh, we get a Fairy Fire also. But you see how he kind of ran off to the side there before he came towards us, which gave me an extra second to get that Moonfire down. He does stun, obviously. Quite annoying. We're able to get him back though. Our rogues are fainting as best they can. Let me keep threat. I'm spamming the taunt button, trying to get him back. He's about to go into his rage after he stuns me. Maybe it's here that I don't take advantage of his pathing. There's an upcoming video that will cover that, a sneak run of this area, and I don't want to give away too much, but you'll get to see him again. Another useless blue for us, unfortunately. Not a bad warrior piece or prop paladin. Unfortunately useless for us. Now this last room, I'll just go over one of the first pulls, and then we'll get to the boss, and then we'll get to the final boss fight, because we're almost done, and I really want to avoid a part 3. There's some occultists in here that you have to kill one at a time. You don't want to kill them both, because they spawn into ghosts that are immune to, they call them shades. They are immune to physical damage, and all of our melee DPS obviously is physical damage. Thankfully, they don't transform until about 20% health. Maybe a little less than that, depending on how much you're able to do at the end. We'll get them marked up here, get some CC going, and then you'll get to see that firsthand. So we get the Occultist marked up, get the Adept marked up. I want to take them out first. They've got that annoying Cone of Cold and Frost DPS. So we get that, we go ahead and pull the Adept. The ledge there does act as a line of sight. So I try to point the conical away from my friends, but you'll notice back here, this acts as line of sight, similar to the banister at the beginning of the instance. So take advantage of that. Here's the first occultist. You'll notice when she gets low on health, she transforms into a dark shade, and then I start moonfiring. And I'm going to jump down here in a second. I believe I jump down. It's here or the next one, I don't recall. But I notice my health is getting real low. And our shaman is doing DPS, so I tried to jump down. And it worked. Shaman's lightning bolt was able to take out the mob. Poisons from the rogue also help. So they also do damage. You notice the rogues were able to blind that occultist. Give me a little bit of time to adjust. I'm going to switch into bear, charge him, keep him in place for a second, take him out. Jaxel gets a little excited, jumps off the edge. I don't blame him, I just did that. We're able to moonfire a little bit. And the other occultist is down. So that's how you're going to rinse and repeat for the next couple pulls in here. And let's get to the boss fight. Alright. Tank and Spank, you can interrupt her casts as well. So hopefully our rogues will do that for us. You'll notice also that she is the High Elf model. That kind of looks like a Blood Elf. In Retail Classic, I believe she's the old style High Elf model. So it's a little bit different. I think I was trying to get a Moonfire there at the end, but we got the Fairy Fire off instead, which in the end is more beneficial to the rogues. I try to bash her, she's immune to bash, but she can be kicked on her spells. She's got that renew, and I believe another heal she's going to try to get off here in just a second. Yeah, there's the heal. The rogues don't kick it this time. Thankfully, their DPS is high enough that it's not too much of an issue, and she's not doing too much damage to me. So we're able to take her out. And then we'll move on to the last boss. Yeah, a little disappointed. She didn't drop a darn thing. So we've got Darkmaster. Can I pronounce it? Is it Gandling? That's right. I always want to say gambling. Clearly that's not the case. So I get thorns up on everyone. My idea here is, since I'll probably get sent to one of these rooms, and let me explain this fight real quick to anybody who has not done it. Pause here while I drink. And annotate. You'll see the 3 rooms. We know that we have 3 rooms on each level. See on our mini-map here. At a random point during the fight, he will teleport one of the party members into one of these rooms. And they can be on the top or the bottom. And there will be a bunch of mobs in front of you. And the gate will be closed on each room. You have to kill the mobs to get out of the room. The gate will not open until the mobs are dead. And you'll see that here quite well, because I actually get teleported out a couple times into these rooms and have to kill the mobs in order to get out and back into the fight. The good thing about having the 3 rogues here is that they can actually evasion tank him for a little bit while I'm in the rooms. Let's go ahead and take a look at how that works and how that goes. But I just wanted to let you know how the fight goes. We're going to keep him pretty much on that rug in the middle, and thankfully we're able to down him. Wait for our healer to get full. Here we go. I make sure everybody's ready, since this is the last pull. It really stinks to wipe on it. I Moonfire, line of sight him, just to get a little bit of threat. I should have Starfired once again. Starfired, Moonfired, got all that threat I could. You'll notice he cursed me and turned me into skeletons. I am still in bear. That threw me for a second. You can kind of see the bear maul effect go through. But here's my first teleportation. I have 3 non-elite Risen Guards with only about 1600 health to take out. And we do end up taking them out, but it's quite slow. I might have been able to switch to Cat to take them out a little faster. I might have to try that on another run. But I notice our group isn't going down too fast. Our rogues are doing a great job alternating evasion and vanish to take out the Darkmaster. I come back. I accidentally start casting instead of going in bear because he turned me into a skeleton and I couldn't see that I was still a bear. So here's where I get teleported again. Quite annoying, but I'm a little more ready for it this time. A couple more mobs. A couple or just one? I think just one more. We just have the extra corpse to take out. I'm just backing up to the door here. They're taking the Darkmaster down. I actually just tank the teleportation so they don't get teleported. By the time I get these guys down, he's dead. The door opens. Because once he dies, the door opens regardless, so you can help out your party members that are still maybe killing mobs. The rogues come down to help me finish them off. I'll show you the loot. And then we'll call it here. Thanks for hanging through this one. Unfortunately, the loot isn't exactly what we wanted. I end up taking the Witchblade. Thankfully, we get it for PvP for when we get the Alterac Valley healing offhand. But that's another topic for another time. Thanks for watching this one. Hopefully you were able to keep it short enough for you. And until the next one, have a good one and take care.